All right, ladies and gentlemen, Fabs in the house. Welcome back to the channel. Today I got a pretty cool video, I think, in my opinion, for you. I got the Horseman SW617 Professional full system overview. Yes, because this is it's not just a camera. This is a photographic legend, and I'm really excited to dive into one of the most elusive, rare, expensive, and remarkable cameras ever made. This is the Horseman SW617 Professional, and I got the system lined up on the table right over here because I want to share my passion and my love towards this and its quirks and everything regarding this camera, because there's not much available online. There's not much on YouTube, on any social media. So I decided, because it's my favorite camera, I decided to showcase my accessories in another video. But this is just the Horseman system, SW617 system displayed right over here. And as I said, this is a legendary camera. It's something that, it was released in the mid-2000, I believe 2006. And that was the absolute peak of analog film technology, like film cameras. It was right at the moment where digital was just on the verge of like growing and growing and getting even more established. I remember I was shooting a D100 in 2000, it was 2001. So D1 was in 1999, something in that period. So it was just starting to creep into the photography business. And this was, I believe 2006, it was the pinnacle of analog film camera productions. It was over 6,000 euros back then. So adjusted with today's inflation, you're looking at 10,000 euros just for this setup with no center filter. Just that setup would set you off like 10K back then of today's money. That contributed to the fact that these cameras are very rare and still expensive today. Like a pre-owned one, it would set you back 6,000 US dollar right now with no center filter. So these are going like for 1,500 bucks. It's crazy. Prices have become just crazy. So, the digital wave crashed down and swept away, further development of mechanical panoramic masterpieces like this one. Linov and Horseman, they achieved I would say panoramic perfection almost. I think this is a little bit more perfect than the Linov 617, but these are the two most advancements in the panoramic film camera development. This is the kind of tool that makes you slow down and think really deeply about composition, about, the rewards, of course, that you're gonna receive, you're gonna get with these massive, ultra-wide 6x17 slabs of film that you're gonna produce if you click one of these red buttons on the lenses, because this is the format that they are shooting. This is a 6x17 system. Sorry for the noise in the background, there's people drilling, but anyways, there's very, very few cameras that can rival this system, in my opinion. So let me walk you through the full Horseman SW617 Professional system. This is the ultimate analog panoramic kit, and you have compatibility with 120 roll film. This doesn't shoot like 35mm, just medium format. The image size, more precisely, is going to be 56 by 168mm, and that's the 6x17 format, right? That's the cinematic look you're gonna get. This is when you go to the movies and see the Panavision film. That's pretty much the 3x1 almost aspect ratio that you're gonna get with this camera. The mount is a dedicated 6x17 cone, which is this chunk right over here, with a custom focusing helicoid, which is this bit right over here, made by Horseman. And then you get, of course, the lens In this case, you have a 72mm Super Angulon XL with 115 degrees of coverage. So this is just the mount, you know, it's a 6x17 screw-in mount. This is the lens back cap, let's call it that way, which just snaps on like so. Of course, the system has a zone focusing, manual zone focusing system. In fact, you can just manual focus right over here with the helicoid, and that's the only method you're gonna get. There's no coupling and nothing going on between the lens and the body, so keep that in mind. The weight, of course, of this system is just ridiculous. I'm not gonna even put this on a scale because it's really heavy. I believe the body only, so this little chunk over here is 1.5 kilograms. So forget about, you know, being lightweight. No, it's not going to happen. Classic tripod mount, standard 3/8 of an inch, socket right over here, and the dimensions are just massive. So these are the specs that I can tell you, massive, super heavy. You know, it's, yeah, cumbersome. It's something, you know, that's the drawback, but that's it. Everything else I'm going to tell you is just like a pro. Because like the build of this thing is just insane. This is a fully mechanical panoramic medium format camera. It's built by Komamura in Japan. There's no batteries, no electronics, just pure craftsmanship going on in the, let's remove the caps, in the making of these beautiful tools. They work flawlessly in every environment because there's nothing that can really fail. You know, there's some electronic, some mechanical parts, zero electronic parts in the shutter that might fail, but you can always fix them. So you can work flawlessly in pretty much all environment, from desert to glaciers, I would say. The construction is made from an aluminum aircraft grade. The body has built-in bubble levels. There's 3 for the top, side, and the rear for perfect leveling of your frame. The body also, as you can see right over here, mounts finders directly right there. Every finder, of course, has to match the lens you're gonna mount on the camera, obviously. You have standard strap lugs that you can decide to use or not. With a wide angle, I, you know, sometimes carry this on my shoulder, so it's not too bad. You, of course, have 17 millimeters of rise and fall movements in the camera right over here. This is the knob you want to undo, and then boom, like so, the camera just moves up and down for 17 millimeters. So you have 34 millimeters of overall travel vertically for rise and fall, perfect for your architecture shot with straight lines. So as you can see here, I have 2 complete bodies that I mainly carry with me. One is the 90 millimeter, one has the 250 millimeter, and this fella here is the 72 millimeter. As I told you, each one comes with a custom dedicated marked matching finder, because that's what you need to compose. You can also compose in a different way, which is using the ground glass, obviously. And also, you can also compose in another way because, yeah, guess what? This is a pure panoramic system, which is made, let me show you like this, with a digital back. So there are 2 digital backs coming with this system. This is the 4 exposure, 120 stock, of course, not 220, 6x17 back, and there's also a 6x12 back with 6 exposures still on 120 film. Each back includes a dark slide, as you can see. Each comes with a latching mechanism, so it locks in place closed, so extremely light tight. There's these how to say, these pins, they go inside these holes, and you have two locking levers for really secure attachment like this. It has to be flush before you do it. Yes, so very secure, very light tight film back usage. So this is the main difference with Linov system, Panoramic 617 S3. There's no back system, so you cannot do ground glass, you cannot focus, you cannot change film mid-roll. So you gotta commit to that focus, you gotta commit to that roll every roll you start. There's no way to swap around black and white film or negative or slide. Forget about that. With Linov. With the Horseman, you can. That's why I truly love to have two of these systems running at the same time, because that gives me maximum versatility. I can have a black and white at 3200 ISO mounted over here and a 100 ISO Provia on this one. And then depending on the situation that's happening in front of me, I'm just gonna go for that back or this back with this length or this length. I'm just gonna swap them around and it's gonna be easy. Right, two latches, back is out. I want to focus, compose between every shot. There's my ground glass. I even have two, so I can do side by side, and you know, without having to fumble around between one ground glass. That's a very seldom occasion, but still, it's something that having two systems, you're gonna end up having two ground glass. I don't need to. I can probably sell one, but still, I have a backup. And these things are expensive. They go for like $1,000, guys. This is crazy. But this is not about price. This is about this system. So the system is a 6x17 viewfinder system. So this camera uses a viewfinder primarily, and ground glass, of course, to focus and to this is to focus. This is to frame. So bright frame lines, they allow for quite precise framing, not as precise as the ground glass. You get lens-specific finders matching, coupled with the lens, which is going to introduce some parallax effect, of course, because this is not like this. This is going to be the right way to accurately compose and focus. Not that. This is just an idea. You walk around with this finding the shot, but then you just use your ground glass, you use your loop. This is a Horseman loop. You see it focuses 6 times magnification ratio. You put this on the ground glass, has enough distance to keep your face away from the ground glass to easily focus. And then you have the lens line up into this system, which makes this an actual system, because you need to have the custom cones, as you can see, mounted on the focusing helicoid, mounted on the lens for this system to work. So in this case, I got a Schneider Super Angulon XL 72mm f5.6, which has mounted a Schneider Kreuznach made in Germany multi-coated 4B center filter. These filters, guys, are extremely rare and extremely expensive. I believe they are handmade. As you can see, there's like an anti-vignetting situation going on over here to reduce exactly the vignetting occurring in this lens. This is a 72mm, so correspondent to what is it? It would be divided by 3 something. So this should be this is going to be like a 20, like a 14 and a 65mm roughly compared to full frame. But remember, you got to consider the diagonal, and this is a very long one because of the very rectangular format. So that's going to be pretty much the rough correspondent focal length if you are used to talk in full frame terms. Then I got the 90 millimeter, which is like a staple. This is classic focal length for balanced scenes. Wide, of course, it's like a 21, and it can focus down to 1.1 meter. This fella is sporting a center filter 4A, which is mandatory. If you're shooting slides, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to see anything without center filter. If you're shooting those Provia or those Velvia or those also Ektachrome, the E100, sure, you're gonna need one of those. Same here. This thing just focuses down a little bit closer because this goes down to 70 centimeters, the 72 millimeter, and similarly goes from 5.6. They're all 5.6, by the way, and this fella goes to 45, and this fella goes to 64 aperture, maximum aperture, as well as the 64 for the 250. So this is Tele Xenar. This is the beast. This is probably my favorite lens. Look at this. It's massive. Minimum focusing distance is 8 meters. So yeah, not the closest macro capability of the bunch. But, you know, the compression, it's for the compression of the planes, this thing is a beast. I love it. I mean, distant subjects, phenomenal. The angle of view is just right. I love when I do full-length people with this lens, but the only not the only, one of the downside is that the use of this is mandatory. You cannot focus by distance scale with this because the focusing throw is so big that you're gonna miss focus if you kind of eyeball it, or if even you use a rangefinder. It's not gonna help that much. You gotta be much more precise. That's why you want to use this fella and this fella with this fella. So I have 3 lenses, and I consider myself really lucky because I was able to find these 3, because you cannot find them, guys. Like, let me know if you see any shop, like for example, selling a 400 millimeter. I would love to buy a Fujinon T 400 millimeter f8.4, I believe. For this system, focuses down to 20 meters, ideal for distant subjects like mountains or wildlife, eventually. I love it. I would love to do that. It's just like just a beast this big, much bigger than that. There's 8 overall lenses that you can choose from. There's another Grandagon from Rodenstock. It's a 90 millimeter f6.8. Still requires a center filter, but it's slightly slower than the Schneider. Is very sharp but compact, so lightweight. So it's great for travel landscape. So not a behemoth like this one XL, so a little bit more compact. There's also a Schneider Super Simmer XL 110 5.6, a little bit closer than this one, which uses a Schneider filter 3B. I believe, and it's pretty versatile, wide angle. It's a little bit tighter than this one, so pretty good for environmental portrait as well. There's the Rodenstock counterpart as well for the Apo Simar 180, which is the Apo Sironar 180. Both are f5.6. They both require, I would say, a ground glass for precise focusing, and they're both kind of like a medium telephoto for tighter framing. Still not really telephoto, but I mean telephoto in large format terms, not really in full frame terms. So they have both have like a shallower depth of field, which is going to be pretty alluring. There is of course the last one, that is the 400 millimeter, which I would love to find one day, but I'm pretty scared of the sticker price for that. So at the end of the day, this is a really slow photography experience, medium format landscape panoramic setup. You can compose with the viewfinder, you can compose with a ground glass, you can level the horizon using the spirit level, you adjust the rise, the fall, you calculate the exposure, you calculate the depth of field, you choose the aperture, the shutter speed, the ISO is pretty much set. You gotta factor in the center filter, you have to calculate carefully your exposure, and then you can eventually take the shot. So it's a very slow process, but the reward is massive, because as massive as the surface that you're gonna find in your transparencies. Yes, because it's 6x17. I mean, guys, something like, let me see, like this. This is just a piece of slide. You don't see but you see that there's like a soul inside of this. It's the perfect outcome for, you know, any wildlife, architectural, like headshot, whatever scene you're trying to capturing. You're gonna be capturing a sweeping vista with a full depth of any natural scene like no digital camera ever can. It's, you know, if you are like obsessed with panoramic film photography and you want the best, I would arguably say that Horseman SW617 Pro system is as close to perfection as it gets. It's expensive, I know, it's hard to find, I know. It's definitely not for the faint of heart, but it's a dream tool for any serious analog landscape photographer. Let me know, guys, in the comment, what do you think about this system, or if you'd like to see some more in-depth for any specific lens or whatever you want to see. Just let me know in the comments down below, because I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.